Oh, I'm really going to fuck this pronunciations up. I've been practicing all day how to pronounce Djevel. Djevel. If that's how you pronounce Djevel. Djevel. I think it's Djevel. Yes, it's time for another album ranking. I've been wanting to rank this Norwegian black metal band for fucking years, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. Every album is absolutely incredible. Today we're talking about Djevel, a band that recently suffered some heartbreaking loss with the passing of one of its founders, Trånn Ciekals, early this month. His unexpected death is a huge blow to Djevel fans. So in honor of his legacy, we're ranking all 9 studio albums from Dødssanger to Natt til Ende, the newest release that came out just before Trånn's passing. Djevel is an incredibly difficult band to rank, and even as I look at my list, I keep second guessing my fucking choices. I thought I had a solid ranking, but this might be the hardest ranking I'll ever have to do on this channel. For those unfamiliar with Djevel, they are a black metal band from Norway, formed in 2009 and still active at the moment. I had the privilege of seeing them live back in 2023, and they were absolutely incredible. With candles burning on stage, the atmosphere was otherworldly. It felt like I was witnessing a satanic ritual as these gods played their incredible evil music. I only own 2 of their albums, which you'll see in the ranking, as their records are notoriously hard to fucking get. But regardless, let me know your rankings down below, and let's dive into this nearly impossible task of ranking Djevel's albums. So, coming in last, and this really pains me, is Dødssanger, Djevel's debut album released 2011 through Aftermath Music. But don't get me wrong, this is still an 80% rating, and there's nothing bad about it. It's a fantastic album in its own right, but compared to their later works, I feel like they hadn't fully honed in their signature sound yet. There are some truly evil sounding moments on this album, but I don't find it as atmospheric as their later releases. One thing that stands out is the amount of spoken word passages, which, while eerie and haunting, sometimes take me out of the immersion. It's as if you're being dragged into an unsettling sermon performed in a dark candlelit church to God's fucking disdain. That said, the riffs are killer, filled with swirling hypnotic melodies and crushing black metal moments that showcase their raw fucking potential. The guitar work, which is always a highlight of Djevel's albums, is still fantastic here, but it's clear they were still refining their signature style. There's a majestic quality to some parts of the album thanks to the use of chants and ritualistic elements. The vocals on this album are handled by Erlend Hjørvik, and his black metal shrieks are powerful, while Trånn Ciekals primarily delivers the spoken sections, adding a sinister storytelling aspect. The album opens with Djevelheim, a dark and brooding track that immediately sets the tone, creeping in with ominous melodies before unleashing its raw aggression. Then we got Mørkefet, turns up the intensity, featuring swirly, ethereal guitar passages, creating an almost trance-like feel. Then we got Kavine Blant, sound like a retarded Norwegian, is probably my favorite track on the album. It's hard-hitting and reminds me of Dark Friend with its old-school black metal aggression and sheer intensity. Then there's Paktens End I Satan Aya, one of the most melodic and haunting songs here. The eerie chants in that brilliant outro give it an otherworldly feel, making it the fine highlight. Overall, Dødssanger is an incredible debut album, but in the grand scheme of Djevel's discography, I feel it's their weakest. They were still finding their identity, and while the atmosphere and musicianship are already strong, their later albums would take the sound to an entire new fucking level. Oh, it pains me. It really does pain me to put this here. I love this album just like I do with the others, but after listening to Sara or Kort for the 100th time, I can't help but feel this is one of Djevel's weaker efforts. That being said, it's still a fantastic album. This was their third studio album and it certainly packs a fucking punch, but I feel a stronger connection to the other records. That's in my opinion. One of the main reasons is the overall production. It doesn't sound as full or immersive as the rest of their discography in my opinion. There's still atmosphere, there's still fucking atmosphere, but it's noticeably less dense than the other works. However, what this album lacks in atmosphere, it more than makes up for that sheer aggression. This is easily Djevel's heaviest album in my opinion. Every song is absolutely ferocious. One of the standout moments is Som Sezang och Nokoklang, a song that has unusual vocal passages where at one point I almost thought the vocalist was about to break into rap. The vocals overall are vicious and malevolent, maintaining that signature Djevel intensity. Throughout the album, also notice a recurring pattern. There are plenty of clean guitar sections that slowly build up to some of the most heaviest fucking moments on the record. While this dynamic shift is effective at times, it can feel a little bit repetitive. Then you got Norges Landa og Rike is another fantastic track featuring great guitar melodies and a rather odd drum outro, but it works within the album's chaotic structure. I love how Sarda or Court gradually darkens as it progresses. The atmosphere intensifies, especially in the self-titled track, which is some of the most furious black metal on the record. The chord progressions and riffs are fantastic, though I did find the drums sounding a little bit too thin at times. And how can you fucking not forget that beautiful clean guitar that appears out of nowhere, only to lead in the heaviest part of the album. Still, there are some incredible head-banging grooves on this throughout, making the compelling listen. I think this album is a brilliant Djevel album, but I have to nitpick for the sake of the ranking, and for me this lands as their second weakest. Despite that, it remains an essential part of their discography, showcasing raw fucking intensity, eerie moments, and the band's most aggressive, and I mean the most aggressive songwriting to date. Okay, so next up is Norske Rituale, if that's how you pronounce it, released in 2016, which would mark the last album with the original lineup. Unfortunately, this album is absolutely fantastic, though it's noticeably less atmospheric than both Bezat av Mane og Nak, which was their sophomore album, which will be late in this ranking. However, what it lacks in atmosphere, it makes up again for its sheer intensity. It's almost as heavy as Sarad or Colt, but with a slightly different approach. One of the most noticeable shifts in the album is the presence of like black and roll elements, I think in the second song, especially in the tracks like Yemana Ere Ala. The riffs carry a certain groove that sets this album apart from the predecessors, while still maintaining that unmistakable Djevel ferocity. This album also features soaring guitar solos, something not as common in the early works, adding a sort of fucking, dare I say, black and thrash influence that's particularly evident on songs like Dorda Sklaft or Tri Nagle. The combination of furious tremolo picking, razor-sharp solos, and relentless drumming make this one of the Djevel's most dynamic releases. The chants and ritualistic elements are still present, bringing epic quality to the album, and Island Hilvik's vocals are absolutely vicious here. His black metal shrieks are some of the best in Djevel's entire discography, making this a powerful send-off as his final fucking album with the band. His performance throughout Norske Rituale is nothing short of outstanding, showcasing both raw aggression and haunting delivery. A major highlight of this album is Manavon's bass work, which he will become the vocalist in the next album, which is brilliant and incredibly prominent in the mix. The thick, rumbling, juicy bass lines provide a strong foundation for the album's overall sound, adding an extra layer of depth that wasn't as pronounced on previous releases. The bass tone is raw and crushing, giving the album more organic and full-bodied feel despite its heavier, more stripped-down approach. While Norske Rituale stays true to Djevel's signature sound, it leans toward a more aggressive and raw tone, much like its predecessor. The technical guitar work is more prominent here, almost acting as a second vocalist in my opinion. The guitar work's always amazing by Trånn, carrying melodic yet sinister presence throughout the album. The unexpected turns in percussion add another layer of unpredictability, making every track feel fresh and unrelenting. The album marks the end of an era for Djevel, with Djevel delivering one of the strongest performances before departing. Despite some changes in tone and approach, Norske Rituale remains a hard-hitting, vicious, and incredibly well-crafted album, proving once again, that Djevel is forced to be reckoned with in the black metal scene. Djevel. Next up, we have Naskride Naden Sort sits here, and while it may not be at the very top, it's still another fantastic Djevel album. This record continues the atmospheric direction they explored on Takazumri Natten, but here the keyboards play an even greater role, adding an ethereal quality while still keeping the band's signature raw and organic black metal tone. There's something almost majestic about this album, largely due to Ciekals' ritualistic chants again, which elevate the atmosphere to something grand and fucking haunting. The drumming is incredible, it really is, driving the album forward with a mix of thunderous intensity and precise rhythmic control. I'm pretty sure it's forced, that's the drumming on this. Yes, it's forced. Or while maintaining that primal unpolished sound for Djevel is known for. Since keyboards were introduced on Tanka Somri Natten, they are used more prominently here, making this one of the band's most atmospheric albums yet. Every track is either really good or downright fantastic. The slow, trudging opener, Nataken Tetna, immediately sets a dark and immersive mood, featuring stunning guitar melodies that pull you into the album's world before everything erupts in Kronet av in Vipnet Hand. Picks up the pace with blistering tremolo-picked guitars, piercing shrieks, and atmosphere that seeps into every fucking note. The vocal performance on this track is particularly ferocious, adding to that epic scale of composition. The album closes with Hervisna Ver en Krans, a stunning final track that perfectly encapsulates everything great about this album. The atmosphere is suffocating, the chants are hypnotic, and Kavitran's vicious, piercing vocals sound utterly tormented, giving the song an almost ceremonial feel. The way this track builds and evolves makes it one of the best closes on their discography. It really is. Honestly, I have no idea why I'm placing this album, to be honest, here, because it's phenomenal. But when it comes to Djevel, I just prefer other albums. That's how strong their entire discography is. Naskrida Natten Zort is still an amazing record, but others just resonate with me more, in my opinion. That being said, this album is Djevel fully embracing that atmospheric black metal sound with longer, more ethereal compositions, beautiful clean guitar passages, and punishing guitar work and drum work. It's another fucking masterpiece by this band, and any fan of atmospheric black metal should absolutely give it the attention it fucking deserves. Next up is Bazat Af Mane Uk Nat, released in 2013 through Aftermath Music. Marks a significant shift in Djevel's sound, taking on a much darker, more atmospheric approach compared to their debut. This is their sophomore album. And it's absolutely fantastic. Production is on another fucking level. It maintains that raw, organic black metal aesthetic while feeling more refined and immersive. The drums have a particularly thunderous quality, and the guitar melodies are some of the best in their discography, adding layers of eerie grandeur to the music. Every song on this album is remarkable. Marafar kicks things off with a slow, trudging intro before erupting into blast beats, setting a haunting, aggressive tone. The drum rolls on this track are phenomenal, adding a sense of ritualistic intensity. Then you got Apne Grave og Tome Kista is another standout, featuring Islands Hilvik's powerful vocal performance that feels even more commanding than on Dodzanga. The self-titled track, Besat Af Mane Ok Nat, is an incredible opener that immediately establishes the album's grandiosity with percussion that feels almost overwhelming in its power. Wow, that song's amazing. Then the intricate guitar work on Trånn Ciekals is mesmerizing, weaving hypnotic riffs with raw aggression, making one of the most compelling tracks on the album. Then you have Satuk og Slut, and an absolutely crushing song. This song is pure atmosphere, it's haunting, relentless, and completely engulfing. The way Trånn's chants escalate throughout the track gives it such a apocalyptic feel, in my opinion, as if the album is reaching a terrifying fucking climax. It's a masterful way to end the record. I love the build-ups on this album. Djevel seamlessly shifts from brooding, slow-burning tension to full-blown black metal ferocity in a fucking instant. It keeps you fully engaged, never knowing when the next wave of aggression will hit. The reduction is phenomenal, especially for black metal. It has a primal raw essence but still manages to feel expansive and grand. This is one of those albums where every track feels essential. Nothing overstays its welcome and every moment contributes to the overall experience. For a sophomore release, Basat av Mane Orgnat is beyond impressive, proving that Djevel had already solidified his sound and were more than just another black metal band. It takes everything Dodzanger did well and finds it into something even more immersive, more intense, and ultimately more fucking powerful. If you want to hear Djevel at their rawest and heaviest, then you got Omati Ama Manatil Horde is the album to check out. This record is an atmospheric, raw, and utterly relentless black metal assault, with every song carrying its own distinct charm. The production is primal and raw, taking you straight back to the 90s black metal era, yet it never sacrifices clarity. From start to finish, this album never lets up, maintaining a sense of ferocity and darkness that makes it one of Djevel's most intense releases. Dare I say this is probably heavier than Sarok. What places this album higher than the sophomore album, in my opinion, and the others I've mentioned so far, is the just brilliant songwriting. The composition on this album is fucking terrific, with moments that feel grand and, like I said, like ritualistic, thanks to the chant sections, which create an ethereal, outerworldly atmosphere. It's relentlessly heavy, at times channeling the essence of like Satyricon and Take, particularly in its icy, tremolo-driven guitar work and its uncompromising blast beats. The drums on this album are fantastic. I think it's Fost again. The punchy production makes every hit feel like a sledgehammer, and the drum rolls are deeply satisfying, adding to the album's sense of urgency. Then there are the guitars, which completely dominate the soundscape with such infectious, eerie melodies that linger really long after that album ends. Then you got Manavon's vocals, are once again brilliant, delivering such raw, piercing shrieks that fit the album's relentless nature perfectly. Ciekals, however, brings something extra, which his chanting vocals, which add a haunting, almost ceremonial quality, particularly on songs like De Eres Hera Lova e Meen Va Menesket Dollar. That track is unreal. One of the highlights of the album, blending ritualistic energy with raw aggression. They have the final track, a 12-minute behemoth that closes the album in absolute chaos. It's furious, unhinged, and completely consuming, making for one of the most explosive finales in Djevel's entire discography. I love how different Djevel sounds on this record. It's definitely the rawest production, but the melodies and atmosphere are still deeply embedded with the music. Then Oma Til Ama Mana Til Order proves that Djevel can be at the most primal and unfiltered without ever losing their fucking signature sound, and that's what makes it so damn fucking brilliant. I'm just going to throw in Djevel's latest album, Nut Till Ende, because this record is absolutely incredible. It was one of my favorite albums of last year, and I've played it countless times. I just can't get enough of how atmospheric this album is. Unfortunately, this will be the final album featuring Trånn Ciekals, as he sadly passed away earlier this month. This makes the album hit even harder, as it now stands as the final chapter of his legacy. The big question now is, will the rest of the band continue as Djevel, or will the name fade into legend, remembered as one of the greatest black metal bands of modern time? Regardless of what happens next, you got Natt Til Ende is such a powerful and fitting send-off, proving that Djevel never lost their signature sound. This is pure atmospheric black metal filled with brilliant guitar work, searing tremolo picking, and thunderous drumming. The ethereal keyboards are more prominent on this album, adding a majestic otherworldly touch, and there's even a short keyboard interlude, something that adds another layer of atmosphere. Kvikström's vocals are absolutely brilliant on this, delivering some of his most intense and haunting performances to date. Meanwhile, Ciekals showcases his fantastic clean vocals, particularly in songs like En Vinter Efter Komma and the title track Natt Til Ende. The latter now feels even more emotionally powerful, given that it serves as the final track on the final album featuring the band's founder. The melodies on this album are fucking stunning. They really are. They sound dark, evil, and immersive, with moments of a malevolent intensity where the vocals, guitars, and atmosphere collide perfectly. Then you got songs like Best på Tusen is another major highlight, as is Yesterday, of which showcases Djevel's ability to blend aggression with eerie, almost spiritual melodies. Then there's Ravna Hymne, which harnesses that old school Djevel sound. It's heavy, hard-hitting, and ferocious, reminding me of the earlier, more savage material. What makes Natt Til Ende rank so high on my list is simple. It's amazing, and every song is memorable. It feels like a combination of everything Djevel has built over the years, blending the raw intensity of their early albums with the atmospheric depth of their later work. Now the question remains, will Djevel continue after this, or will this be the end with no original members left in the band? Their future remains fucking uncertain. But if Natt Til Ende truly is their final album, then they went out on an absolute banger. So this was very close to taking the #1 spot, but I only placed Tanke som ri natten at second. This album marks another significant shift for Djevel, as Monovan unfortunately left the band, leaving them to search for a new vocalist. They found Kvikström, who also fronts Vemod, another incredible band, another incredible Norwegian band. I also saw them live as well in 2023. Kvikström's vocals fit perfectly into Djevel's evolving sound, and I absolutely love this and love his intense, manic black metal delivery. One of the album's changes on this album is Ciekals incorporating even more chants and clean vocals, blending them seamlessly with Kvikström's piercing fucking shrieks. The result is an album that leans fully atmospheric black metal, feeling more immersive and spiritual than anything they've done before. The guitar melodies remain phenomenal, weaving through every track like an ethereal presence, and the songwriting on this album is just fucking brilliant. The final track is a true masterpiece, a slow-paced, deeply emotional song with haunting vocals and mesmerizing chants. It closes the album in an almost transcendental way, letting the atmosphere fully consume you. Throughout the album, the guitar work is hypnotic. It just fucking pulls you in a dreamlike trance while maintaining that cold and sinister edge that defines Djevel's sound. Compared to the previous album, Tanke som ri natten shifts away from that raw, relentless aggression from Orna till Armen Mana till Order, instead bringing back clean acoustic sections that have been absent on the last record. The production is more refined, and it creates such a rich and immersive atmosphere without losing that organic black metal rawness. One major addition here is the introduction of keyboards. Yes, keyboards, marking the first time Djevel used them in their music. The subtle synth work adds another layer of depth, making the album even more fucking atmospheric and even more fucking haunting. The song titles. Don't get me started on the song titles. They are incredibly long, but don't let that deter you. This is some of the best atmospheric black metal out there. The reason this is my second favorite Djevel album is simple. The atmosphere is fucking unmatched. The haunting, eerie moments are deeply affecting, and the guitar melodies bleed through every track with such sheer emotional weight. This album is a journey, and every listen feels like stepping into a dark and mythical Djevel world. And now, my favorite Djevel album is Blant Svarte Grane. Honestly, I could have chosen any of their albums, but I'm highlighting this one because it's just incredible. Released in 2018, this marked the first album without Eileen Hilvik on vocals. Instead, Manavond stepped in as the lead vocalist, who's also the bassist as well, and his performance is nothing short of fucking phenomenal. His blackened shrieks are fucking piercing, raw and emotionally charged, adding a new depth to Djevel's sound. I truly wish he had continued as their vocalist because his presence on this record is absolutely chilling. What sets Blant Svarte Grane apart from its predecessors is how much more atmospheric it is. The reason I've chosen this as my favorite is because of the emotionally charged songwriting. It leads heavily into like DSPM sound territory at times, making it one of the most evocative and powerful albums in the discography. This is brilliant black metal. It really is, filled with bleak melodies, crushing intensity. God, I wish I owned this on CD. And a lingering sense of sorrow and despair. The melodies on this album are some of Djevel's finest. You got a R.I.P Sport af Menneski has an infectious guitar melody that stays with you long after the song ends. Then there's Die Danser Linde Subolomet Som Om Din Va, which channels Swedish black metal influences, reminiscent of bands like Shining and Armageddon. The riffs on this track are sharp and brooding, and the songwriting is absolutely fucking brilliant, maintaining that dark atmospheric sense that defines Djevel's sound. The real masterpiece of this album is Pa Vintersti Ska Hon Singe En Grafsang Som Aldrig Ender. A 10-minute journey into the depths of black metal despair. It's a dark, evil-sounding track shifting between brooding, slow-paced guitar sections and moments of sheer aggression, with Manavond's vocals delivering such an agonizing, tormented performance. Every note feels deliberate on this. Every transition feels seamless on this, creating a track that's as haunting as it is as it is mesmerizing. Then you got I den gamle faune kirke is such an evil fucking song, drenched in haunting, eerie guitar melodies that make it one of the most sinister tracks on the album, one of the most sinister songs in Djevel's discography. The atmosphere here is absolutely suffocating, pulling you into its cold, blackened depths, and with every note, there's an almost like a... God, it keeps saying ritualistic, but there's almost ritualistic quality to it, as if the song is summoning something truly malevolent. Then there's Banke som Doneskoka, which kicks off with relentless bass beats that don't let up for the solid 2 minutes, creating a feeling of sheer chaotic fury before transitioning into that epic 10-minute finale. The way this song builds tension is masterful, balancing between moments of all-out aggression and slow brooding passages that feel like they're dragging you further into darkness. The pacing is flawless on this, and by the time you reach the final moments, oh my god, it feels like you've been through a harrowing journey. Yeah, both of these tracks stand out as some of the most darkest, most intense moments on Blant Svarte Grane, perfectly encapsulating why this album is such a masterpiece of atmospheric black metal. It doesn't fully embrace atmospheric black metal like Takasom Rianaten, but this is atmospheric black metal. What makes Blant Svarte Grane such a fun album to listen to is how bouncy and memorable the riffs are. Every song has a distinct identity, and the beautiful clean guitar passages woven throughout add a layer of eerie and elegance. The guitar outro, which loops back around to the intro track, is such a clever and effective way to close the album. There's something about this record that keeps me coming back for more than any other Djevel album. Maybe it's those amazing fucking melodies, the punchy distorted guitars, or the ethereal melancholic clean sections. Whatever it is, I think this is the best album in my opinion. Of course that opinion might change tomorrow, but for now, Blant Svarte Grane sits at the top. It was really fun revisiting Djevel's discography. They are an incredible band, and in my opinion, even with Ciekals gone, the rest of the band still has the potential to create amazing music. It's going to be an interesting time for them, and I truly hope Not Till Ende wasn't their final album. However, with Trånn Ciekals gone, so is the band's primary songwriter, which leaves a massive fucking void. Kavitram is a fantastic songwriter as well. His work in V-Mod was incredible, but I can't help but feel that Djevel's sound is now starting to resemble V-Mod a little bit, especially with the increased use of keyboards. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but it does raise the question of how the band will differentiate themselves moving forward. The next few years will be crucial for Djevel, and if they decide to continue, they have an immense legacy to uphold. However, if they choose to end their journey here, they've already crafted an incredible fucking discography. Trånn has crafted an incredible discography that future generations will undoubtedly discover and appreciate. Rest in peace, Trånn Ciekals. So that's it for another ranking. Hope you guys enjoy it. It was a fairly long one, but holy shit, I think I know Norwegian now. Maybe not. Maybe not. Yeah, unskjønn. Maybe not. But yeah, let me know in the comments below your favorite Djevel rankings, and let me know. Let me know if you're shocked about Trånn Ciekals' death. Just let me know. It's been fun. Rest in peace, and I'll see you in the next one.